cases going on. In fact, the more I complained, the more I felt retaliated against.
Wow, I had no idea that this was actually going on, and this happened to other people.
Hundreds of allegations of harassment and discrimination poured into the Texas Department of Transportation in recent years, all brought to the forefront in a 6-month KXAN investigation. After our report, the agency is making changes, but the reports also prompted workers from other state government agencies to come forward to KXAN, saying they've been victims in their workplaces too and want to see change.
Now we're looking into the agency that's supposed to protect and serve Texans, the Department of Public Safety. We've discovered workers there have made nearly 500 official allegations of harassment, discrimination, and retaliation since 2013. But just 10% of those allegations were sustained and employees were disciplined. Tonight, KXAN investigator Brittany Glass tells us lawmakers and workforce experts question why so few allegations are resulting in action from the DPS.
That's exactly right, Robert. And they say it might start with the makeup of the agency's workforce. There are nearly 10,000 people working at DPS, but just 40% of them are women. Minorities make up even fewer numbers, like just 13% of workers are African American. Some of those workers have contacted us because they're too afraid to speak out, even as agency leaders encourage them to do so.
It's a high-intensity work environment, in the air and on foot, a team you'd be proud to join. But this Department of Public Safety recruitment video was far from what this whistleblower says she experienced.
Working in a state agency as large as this was a fantastic opportunity that wound up being one of the most soul-crushing experiences that you could have.
She asked that we conceal her identity for fear of retaliation, but says she witnessed discrimination based on race and gender, seeing women and minorities passed up for promotion and skipped over for raises, despite their experience or merit. Our analysis of state employment data shows the top 5 highest paid workers at the agency are all white men, and men hold twice the number of director positions at DPS compared to women.
The directors are in the position to surround themselves with who they want.
In the past 5 years, most allegations of discrimination, harassment, sexual harassment, and retaliation involved non-commissioned workers at DPS. These are the behind-the-scenes administrative and civilian employees like the woman in this story. To better understand their concerns, we asked DPS for specific details about last year's allegations. We learned by law, any allegation made against troopers is only shared with the public if that trooper was disciplined. Last year, that number was 0, so we can't know what happened in those cases, which made up about half the allegations. But the records we did receive from the non-commissioned side of the agency included claims of unprofessional conduct to a wide range of discrimination and even retaliation. And overall, the number of allegations agency-wide have nearly doubled from 46 in 2016 to 85 last year. To investigate those, DPS relies on an inspector general and a dispute resolution office. Still, only about 10% of the allegations in the 5 years we analyzed were substantiated, meaning in the majority of cases, nothing was proven and no one was disciplined.
But if people think that that's the likely outcome from reporting, you can understand why people would certainly think twice before reporting or just find another way to do it.
Employment attorney Austin Kaplan specializes in workplace disputes. With so few substantiated allegations, Kaplan says the data suggests fear of retaliation may be a serious issue at DPS.
The affirmative duty ought to be on DPS or on the employer to create an environment where that fear goes away.
So we've actually had a number of employees, DPS employees, current and former, who've come to us who've said that this has happened to them, but they're not reporting it because they don't feel like DPS takes this seriously.
Bring the evidence to the Office Inspector General. They don't report to me. They report directly to the Public Safety Commission.
DPS Director Stephen McCraw says the agency has processes in place, but employee reporting is crucial.
If you know of it, if you've seen it, you have an obligation to report it. whether it's against you or somebody else. If there's some people that you've talked to that feel that way, again, the only way to eliminate that feeling is for them to come forward.
This whistleblower says there's too much at risk. She never felt comfortable filing a formal complaint, so she quit.
They're not doing anything to create an environment where they're going to want to stay.
But she's determined now to bring the issue to light.
We all have to be a force against something that we all know is wrong.
At least one lawmaker we've spoken with says she's looking into this issue. She's talked to DPS, and she says leaders there have committed to meeting with her in person.
Just curious, Brittany, why did the DPS give you all of the allegations made against the civilian non-commissioned workers, but would only give allegations made against the troopers if they were sustained?
Well, Robert, that's actually one of the biggest concerns for lawmakers. Now, unless those allegations made against troopers are proven and they're disciplined, it's not public information. Basically, you have to trust the agency gives you all of its data and that what it says about troopers' actions is accurate. But after our investigation, lawmakers are looking to that aspect too, and they say it should be addressed.
All right, Brittany, thank you. DPS is currently under review by the Sunset Advisory Panel for the upcoming legislative session. The initial commission report suggests DPS close inefficient or low-performing driver license offices. It suggests turning over the driver license sector to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles could ease the burden on DPS. For a breakdown of the allegations made by DPS workers, head to the investigative page of KXAN.com.